Or so I assume that everybody knows what Enigma is, because in movies we see it a lot. Also, if you watch movies about not on Second World War, but on the life of Alan Turing, then you will be familiar with Enigma. So actually, I don't know why I don't have the picture of Enigma here, but I have something more improved, let's say. So at that time, during the Second World War, instead of using pen and paper techniques, actually military used machines. So this is an something actually this designed after Enigma. So it looks like a typewriter, but there, as you can see, there are some rotors here. So the positions of these rotors actually is your secret key. So whenever you want to communicate with somebody, you actually agree on the initial position of these rotors. So you write your letter, but once you press the letters here and you press A, probably it's prints C, but you press again A, since the rotor position changed, now instead of C, it prints something else. So this is a poly alphabetic substitution. So Enigma is one of the first in this series. So before the Second World War, actually, you could buy one of these machines, and in banking, people use it. But with the outbreak of the war, military had to use it intensively. So initially, British couldn't break it, but then they discovered that there is a weakness in the cipher, and the weakness is that a letter is never encrypted to itself. So press A 1,000 times, you will see different letters, but never A. So they use this information to break the cipher. So they listen to the radio communication of the towers at the outpost, and they recorded the ciphertext, like here. And of course, the ciphertext doesn't mean anything to them. But since at that time there is no war going on between them, they assume that during this transmission, at some point, they say that there is nothing to report, right? But in military, there is a very special term in German for this, keine besonderen Ereignisse. In Turkish, this means actually asayiş berkemal. So in daily life, you don't use that term, but in military, you use it. So they assume that maybe at some part of the ciphertext, this message was sent. So for instance, at this position, they write that German sentence here, and see that if the ciphertext might correspond to it. So they look at it, and here they observe that E's are collude. So they say that this cannot be written by Enigma, because if at this point you pressed A, the ciphertext should be something else. So they shift the position and check, shift the position and check, and at some point, if a position does not coincide with any of the letters, so this is a possibility, maybe they really send that message there. So what they do is that they go to their own Enigma machine, and choose the rotor position so that this ciphertext would translate to this one. But then they keep writing the rest of the ciphertext to see if the translated version makes something meaningful in German. If not, then you eliminate one possibility and try another set of positions for the rotors. But there are a lot of things to try, and doing this with pen and paper takes a lot of time. So what you are going to do for that, since they are performing the encryption with a machine, then you will do the cryptanalysis with the machine, so you have to invent something, okay? So what they did actually was that, as you can see some pen and paper trials here, but what they did was to build a machine called Turing Bombe. So here actually you can try a lot of rotor positions in a very fast way. Okay, this is how actually they deciphered every Enigma transmission during the war. But what happened next is that the Germans realized that, so they constantly modified their machines during the war, and their latest cipher machines eluded Allied cryptologies. So at the final stages of the war, actually Allied couldn't listen to some of the communications. Okay. So as I told you, they improved their machines like this, then they move on to Lorentz cipher. So as you can see, it looks more digital now, more complex, more rotor positions and so on. So now British couldn't decipher ciphertexts that were written with this Lorentz machine. So you have to try a lot of possibilities, but you don't have computers at that time. So what you're going to do is to build your own computer. So what they did was to actually build Colossus Computer in 1943. This is the first programmable electronic digital computer. Okay, developed by British codebreakers at Bletchley Park to cryptanalyze Lorentz cipher. So Bletchley Park is just between Oxford and Cambridge, by the way. If you somehow have the chance to go there, actually at the entrance of the town, when it says "Welcome to Bletchley Park," actually Bletchley Park is, overlined, and it says "Home of the Codebreakers." Alan Turing's use of probability in cryptanalysis contributed to its design. Optically reads a paper tape and then applies programmable logical functions to the bits of the key and ciphertext characters, counting how often the function returned false. Okay, so this is how that computer works. But after the end of the war, British destroyed this computer because you have to rebuild your country and you don't have time to work on this new technology. But if the enemy captures this new technology, then they may, technology get advanced. So what they decided was to destroy the machine. So then people at Bletchley Park asked, how should we destroy it? Because it is a very huge computer, larger than this room. So they said that none of the remaining parts would be bigger than your fist. Okay, so they destroyed it in a very small pieces, but it was reconstructed in 2007, and it is currently available in Bletchley Park in the museum. So this is actually 1/4 of the computer. Okay, so as you can see this part, so it is actually doesn't have memory, so it reads from the optical reader the data, but it is like a very huge CPU, so it performs operations. So these are some of the remaining official parts of the original Colossus, which are also available at the museum. Okay, so also these two parts, and this cup is a gift to some of the people worked here. So before finishing, I should also show you Alan Turing's teddy bear. So this is a gift from Alan Turing to his 5-year-old niece. He realized that she has a skirt that she loves a lot, and with the same texture, he builds a cloth for this teddy bear and gives this gift to his niece in Christmas. So since that time, actually, this bear wears this cloth for maybe 70 or 80 years now. Okay. So I wanted to conclude with Alan Turing's teddy bear.